All right, get on in here. 888-957-9570. Yeah, we'll have a quick sort of dip into the marketing waters in the 4 o'clock hour. But outside of that, we just want to hear from you. I can't wait because Steiny's right. Like, this is one of those situations where a hell of a lot of different opinions, I think, all play. And it's really sort of difficult to get yourself to the spot of, like, who's right, who's wrong, is everybody right and everybody wrong kind of all at the same time? And is the end result, and it certainly, Dibs, sounds like you think so, is the end result that two sides who don't want to break up are about to break up?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they don't want to break up. I get the sense that Brandon Aiyuk wants to get something that they're not willing to get him. So if that's the case, then the breakup could be inevitable. If he wants more money and they don't want to give him more money, and if they haven't really had concrete conversations since May, and he's frustrated by that, and so now he's holding in, and he wants somebody to pay him, and there's teams out there that will pay him, then the breakup's inevitable, I think. And, you know, better to do it now than to wait for, the deadline? I don't even know if there is a deadline in football. We almost never see those types of...
I think there is.
There is, of course, but we don't ever see those big types of moves happen at the deadline.
Emmanuel Sanders, Chase Young, Christian McCaffrey. The Niners are actually deadline geniuses.
Good call, yeah.
So who knows? I don't know, man. That's just kind of like, maybe I'm putting this like one of those movies that puts the ending first. Like, that's my ending sentence, and then we can talk about the rest for 4 hours. But I think that this is wildly disappointing because I don't think at the core of either side, I don't think either one of them want to break up. I don't have any question about that in my mind. There's no doubt to me. There's two questions that I think you can answer with the affirmative, which is, who is the best person to be in that starting lineup at that wide receiver position for the 49ers this year? The answer is Brandon Aiyuk. And then when the question goes to Brandon, where can you be at your best this year? Where can you put up your best numbers? Where can you perform at your highest level? What system do you know the best? 49ers.
But you didn't answer the most important question in all that.
I know.
So that's why you and I disagree about the idea of a breakup, because I do think that Brandon Aiyuk wants to break up with the Niners because he wants money. He wants to make more money than they're willing to pay him. I don't even know what their offer is, if there even is an offer.
Yep.
And if that is the case, then I'm sure Brandon Aiyuk is looking at it saying, I'm Brandon Aiyuk. I can catch the ball. I can score touchdowns. I can be a good football player no matter where I go. And yes, maybe I won't win a Super Bowl in Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Washington, or New England. But if I'm making $28.5 million, I can get over that, and maybe I can build a team on my own.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all. My point is that he wants the money from the 49ers. And I know that, so the answer is all, but they won't give it to him. I have no idea what the numbers actually are for any of these teams. If he really was dead set, like it's just money, well, then he'd already be gone. Then you wouldn't have all these parameters about what team you might go to. I want to go to Washington, I want to go to Pittsburgh, but I don't want to go to New England. Well, wait a minute. If it's just the 30 mil, good God, New England probably give you 31.
But we don't know that.
No, we don't, but what the hell do they care? Like, they've got literally, I mean, wait for this now. Go to your fantasy draft in 3 weeks.
Right.
Don't draft anyone
on the Patriots
from that team. There's no one. There's no one. They don't have, it's actually stunning that we're talking this way about the New England freaking Patriots, the team that has owned our lifetimes since the Niners' greatness of the 80s. They've got no good players.
Right.
It's wild. Look at none. So would Brandon be amazing in that scenario for $30 million? If it's just money, then go do it. But I don't think he wants to do that. So I get what you're saying. It's a little bit of a semantics thing. All things being equal, he wants to be a 49er. All things aren't equal, though.
Of course. And that's where we sit, because it's been months since, he's probably felt like he's wanted. And you go back to TikTok and, they say they don't want me. And so that's where that's been. And now he's, out there trying to get as much money as he can.
This is funny since we're talking about it right now, Dibs. Somebody has actually called from Worcester, Mass.
Okay.
It's Jamie in Worcester, Mass. Oh, why'd he hang up? Or did I do that? I don't think I did that. We were about to go live right out the gate to Worcester, Mass. I wanted some Patriots flavor. But yeah, again, there's a lot of conversation that you and I and all of us have been having. I think he's calling back. We'll go out to live to Worcester, Mass here in a sec. But I think we're having a lot of conversation, and admittedly, there's all these little pieces of information that we don't have. You know what I mean? The agreement in place between Cleveland and New England and the 49ers. Do you take that at face value?
Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
Why do you take it at face value?
I believe that there are parameters. So I believe that the teams have talked, and Cleveland has said, you know what? If we can come to terms with Aiyuk, this is what we're willing to offer you. And the Niners have said, okay, that sounds good. Figure out a contract with him and get back to us. And I believe that New England's done the same thing. And I don't think that it's ironclad, like, yeah, that's a done deal.
Right.
But I do think that there have been discussions and players and picks and parameters that have been discussed. And I think that the 49ers, if everything lines up, would do one of these deals. No doubt.
My eyebrows just go up because we know damn well he spent all offseason saying he wanted to be a commander. You know, we had Filippone on yesterday. He suggested Brandon would even take a cut less of money to go to Pittsburgh because he really wants to go there, and he has flirted with Mike Tomlin. So that happens all offseason.
Pittsburgh's still in the deal.
I understand, though. They're in, they're out, now they're back in.
Oh, they're in. They're at the goal line, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're at the, my God. They're
at the 1 yard line.
Their short yardage back sucks.
It's been a long play
They've
clock.
been at the 1 yard line since we were here yesterday. So, all of that and all of that being leaked publicly makes me at least question the validity of all of it. Because why is it that Brandon wants these two teams and the Niners are like, oh, well, that's convenient. We've agreed in place with these teams who you don't want to go to. I just think it puts Brandon in a spot now, or if Brandon goes, well, no, I don't want that trade, well, now you're losing the PR battle because now you do look like you're whining a little bit. Again, this is a hypothetical. I'm not saying Brandon's whining. I don't know what they're going to accept.
Well, some have said that he's not being an adult, so there's that out there.
Listen, who knows? Behind the scenes, I'm sure there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to have their opinion based on what they know and what they see. And there are plenty who see a lot more than I do. So I'm not going to rip that comment because I don't know what he knows. And he's closer. Mike Silver you're talking about. He's closer to it than I am.
I'm referring to Debo being an adult the way he's handling things.
Well, and
the inference is pretty clear.
Yeah, but I bet he also knows some things about the way the two have handled it behind the scenes.
And the way the team feels about the way he's handled it.
No doubt.
For sure.
No doubt. But my point is right now, hypothetically, Brandon could end up in a bad spot where it's like, I want this money. And the Niners like, we're not going to give you that money. And he goes, fine, I want to trade. All right, we traded you. No, I don't want you to trade me there. Like at a certain point, it's like, dude, you're not a free agent. You don't get to run this show.
Right. But he does get to do whatever he wants to do to make things hard on the 49ers. Absolutely. And he's already done that. He's already made it to where we're talking about this instead of all the other great things that are going on in camp. And Christian McCaffrey has a minor calf injury, and that probably won't get mentioned again over the course of these 4 hours because it's not Brandon Aiyuk and a trade scenario. So your star running back may miss, he's going to miss the preseason, which is fine.
He would have anyway.
And your left tackle is not going to be in the preseason, and your starting quarterback can't stop throwing interceptions, and your middle linebacker is injured until November. And we can go on and on with actual stories, but we won't because this is the story, and it's because of Brandon Aiyuk, and it's because of the way he's going about it, the way the team is going about it, and that's a problem for the 49ers.
Well, I don't know about the word problem. It's an annoyance.
It's a distraction.
It's an annoyance. Yeah, for sure. Let's go. All right, live to Worcester, Mass.
Good luck.
Jamie, Worcester, Mass. Hey, Jamie, what are you doing?
What am I doing? I'm listening to the Patriots talk shows mention that they're in heavy on Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon is not going to be happy out here with weak noodle arms and a bad offensive line.
I mean, speak on it, Jamie. What's it look like out there? And what's it sound like, by the way? What are the people of Worcester, Mass, what do they want to have happen here?
Well, they probably want him to come out here and take a deal, like if Bill Belichick was still here, which he's not. They paid all of their defensive guys this year, and Matthew Judon is not happy. He hasn't been re-signed. So maybe it's a Judon package out to San Francisco.
I mean, I tell you what is one of the, and Jamie, thanks. One of the more interesting things out there are these mythical packages that would be coming back to the 49ers.
That's a damn good package.
Well, that's my thing. I feel like we're a little cart before the horse here. None of the deals make sense. And I don't even know if any of the deals that have been mentioned are the deals. We're all guessing. Kendrick Bourne and Amari Cooper.
That doesn't make sense.
Second rounders and third rounders and Judon, and none of it makes any sense.
The Pittsburgh package makes sense.
What's the Pittsburgh package?
You got an offensive lineman in there. You got a linebacker. You got a couple of picks.
We made that up. We don't even know. People are just like, I don't know about that guy.
Yeah, it's hypothetical. It's what we do in the NBA trade machine.
Sure.
Where you go to the NBA trade machine and you start clicking boxes, entering names. That trade works.
Right, but don't all of them
trade works.
But don't all of them feel like the Niners would be worse on the other end?
No, not if they get interior offensive line and you get some help in the defensive line.
Who's starting at receiver?
Whatever. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
What are we doing?
You got Ricky Pearsall.
Who's starting at wide receiver?
Ricky Pearsall.
Listen.
Ronnie Bell. You got Jawan Jennings, Trent Taylor in the slot.
Oh, dear.
Jacob Cowing. You've got receivers that you can elevate.
Yes, you have people who have WR next to their name on the internet.
That's a really good question.
Thank you, Roxy.
Listen, I'm terribly, terribly concerned here. Like this, none of this makes sense. And at a certain point, it's why I said in the handoff thingy that is a miscalculation sensation. This is not supposed to be happening right now.
Why is it happening?
Because two sides who were assessed by both sides that they would be able to figure this out have not. So who do I blame? Everybody.
Sure, it's not about blame.
Who's right? Everyone. Who's wrong? Everyone.
Parag Marate likes to play hardball, and they drew a line in the sand, and the market changed, and Brandon Aiyuk stepped across that line and is refusing to go back. So who's to blame? You're right. Everybody. But here we are on August 6th, and I don't foresee Brandon Aiyuk playing football for the 49ers this year. So who's going to be your receiver? Not him. So you better spend your time in these next few practices and these few preseason games to figure that out, because I don't think that he's going to play football for you.
It sounds like you're probably right. But the point I'd like to make is if Brandon Aiyuk gets traded, it was a failure. Period. I don't care who you get back. If Brandon Aiyuk gets traded in August, that means someone or something failed. This is not the way to do it. This is not the time to do it. This does not make your football team better. This is not fantasy football. So I don't care if Amari Cooper's available. This is not have Amari Little Christmas and name your team that in fantasy football. This is not that.
Number 2. Number 1?
This is not good.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not good, but here you are. So things have gone this way, and here you are on August 6th, and this is the situation. He's holding in, and you're shopping him. That's the situation.
Maybe.
Okay. You don't think that they're at least calling other teams?
Of course they are.
We got Filipponi frothing at the mouth.
If you think that PR is not part of this, I would disagree with you as well. Sponsored by LifeSource Water Systems. What do you think? Let's talk about it. Brandon Aiyuk on the table, 888-957-9570, Willard and Dibs.